A lot of you have started to buy analog synthesizers recently, and I think one of the issues that I find a lot of people have with analog synthesizers when they buy them is the simplest one: how to record them in. How do I record in my analog synthesizer correctly? And it's actually not that simple, unfortunately. Once you learn how to do it, it's really simple, but I feel like Logic can overcomplicate it ever so slightly. So I want to walk you through how I'm going to record in my Moog. Now I know this looks like a plugin, but this is just the software that controls the actual Moog. If you know the Moog Minotaur, then you'll know it looks exactly the same as this. With the software, I have a few more controls where I can go under the hood and just change a few things like decay, sustain, sync the oscillators and so on. But regardless, sometimes your synthesizer will come with some sort of software which will make this possible, sometimes not, but it doesn't matter. You don't need the software, it's just that I need it to change the preset, but I've already got a preset loaded up, which makes my life a lot easier. Now, the first thing you have to do is create an audio channel, a regular audio channel. Imagine you're recording in a microphone. Now my Moog is on input 2 and I'm recording through my Universal Audio Apollo 8. I don't know how many inputs your interface or sound card has, but just make sure that you are recording through a sound card. That's totally necessary. Now, you'll be recording through your sound card with an audio cable, okay? So you're plugging, it should be a jack to a jack, 1/4 inch jack to a 1/4 inch jack. Might be on the front of your interface or the back, depends on where the inputs are, depends on the interface. So input 2 is what my Moog is plugged into. I'm going to hit I for input monitoring, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, you can hear a little bit of buzzing there. I think it's because my cable's a bit messed up. I'm then going to add, here, external MIDI, use external instrument plugin, and then don't touch anything. Make sure it's no input, no output here, nothing. Just make sure that doesn't say anything. Open the external instrument, change MIDI destination to Moog Minotaur, and auto compensate latency. And that's it. That's it. Don't change the input because you're going to get sound coming through the MIDI channel, which is not what you want. Now, I've already ridden a bass line. You're probably going to recognize it from the pack. Now, what's going to happen is this channel here is going to send MIDI to the Moog. And that MIDI is going to create audio, which is then just going to come out of here. So this is sending to the Moog, and this is the Moog sending back. So it doesn't matter if you don't have a Moog, any analog synthesizer at all. Now, let me play what's going on. If I play with my Moog, I'm going to just open the editor just so you can see me playing with it. I'm not going to touch it here, I'm actually going to touch the real thing. You can see me touching all the different dials there. Just I want you guys to make sure that you know that I'm actually playing with a real synthesizer, not a bit of software. So you've got your audio channel and your MIDI channel. Now what you've got to do is, once you're happy with the sound, you record into the audio channel. So we're going to do that straight away. Don't know why I decided to change my resonance, but let's just record that again. Now, as you can see, analog software has a really has a tendency to, to not record in time, especially on Logic. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. Logic is just not great at. Ableton is better at it if you guys use Ableton, and you have to use a similar method in Ableton. So you will need to go in and actually trim this. Now, I never trim it all the way to the front. I leave a little gap because I think that always sounds the most natural. If I trim it all the way to the front, funny enough, it sounds rushed, almost two in time. Cut off the back. And take it off input monitoring, guys. Input monitoring is just so we can hear what's going on. We're monitoring the input of the synthesizer. Hopefully you guys already know that. If you don't, input monitoring from when you're just listening from what's coming out the synthesizer, and R is record enable. Let's put some fades. We just need to probably put a fade on the back, and then let's just have a listen to it. So there you have it, our analog synth. So just remember, you got to set up the 2 channels, the audio, with whichever input your synth is plugged into. So that needs to be plugged in via audio. And then your synth will probably have a USB cable. So you'll need the USB cable hooked up, which is where this MIDI will fire into. So for that one, you need an external MIDI channel, and make sure you use external instrument plugin, and all of these are off. No, and off. Okay, none of that. Create it, open it, and then MIDI destination, Moog Minotaur, MIDI channel 1. Do not touch the input, guys. Do not touch the input volume, but you can put auto compensate latency, although that's not going to be the same when you record, just when you're playing back. Once you found what you want and you've edited your synth and because you can fire this MIDI in to into your synthesizer, play around with it, or drum machine, whatever you might be using, and then when you're ready to record, you can record. So you can take it off input monitoring. You don't even have to do that. Just hit R for record on your keypad. And you should have yourself a nice fat bass line.
Remember, at Sample Tools by CR2, we also offer a mix and mastering service. Just head over to www.sampletoolsbycr2.com, click on the mastering tab, and you'll find our range of services there.